KVUE is partnering with Honor Flight Austin, recognizing Central Texas veterans with special trips to Washington, D.C. to honor their service. And tonight, Bob Buckaloo introduces us to a Vietnam War veteran whose memories from back then continue to trouble him.
Just over 60 years ago, Bob Freeze enlisted in the Navy. It was the 1960s as America was at war in Southeast Asia. Bob served on an oiler that replenished other ships with fuel and supplies.
I was stationed aboard the USS Guadalupe. It was a AO-32. It was an oiler. I feel it was the heart of the Navy. Without us, nothing could get done.
But one day, as Bob was aboard the Guadalupe in Vietnam, something happened that still haunts him 60 years later.
We had an issue with someone coming aboard our ship. He was there to blow it up. And he wasn't much over 12. I survived, he didn't. And I live with that and have nightmares about that every day.
Even today, the psychological aftermath of the war continues to haunt many veterans. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, has become one of the most painful legacies of the Vietnam War. Of the nearly 3 million Americans who served in Vietnam, studies suggest that almost 30% of them developed PTSD at some point in their lives. Adding to their stress were the greetings many of them received when they returned home.
And then when you come home and you have somebody spit on you and call you a baby killer, you never wear your uniform off base again.
But it was a much different kind of greeting when Bob and other veterans from Central Texas arrived in Washington, D.C. last month. They were flown to the nation's capital courtesy of Honor Flight Austin. Honor Flight brings our veterans to the nation's capital to see the monuments and memorials that honor them for serving their country. At the Vietnam War Memorial, where more than 58,000 names of our service members who died in the war are engraved on a wall, Bob searched for the name of a friend who was killed in the fighting.
He was coxswain of a landing craft. And I went over and they always unload the boats for maintenance and everything, and he wasn't there. And I asked the guys where he was, and he had taken a direct hit, and I never saw him again.
Despite his search, he didn't find his friend's name.
Just so sad. So many young people died.
It's been 50 years since the end of the war, when the last Americans left the jungles and rivers of Vietnam. But for many of our veterans, the war never really ended. It came home with them.
Welcome to D.C.
Honor Flight hopes that by reaching out and supporting those veterans who are living with PTSD, their healing can move forward. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
And we will continue to share these amazing stories throughout the year. And if you want to support Honor Flight, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now to donate. And to see more of our coverage, go to kvue.com/honorflight.